Hi, it's Jan Beta, and shortly after I made the video of unboxing the retro computer stuff from my family, which I will link in the corner, I realized that it has been 30 years on Christmas 2017 that I had my first computer. So 30 years ago, Christmas 1987, I got my first computer. And this is a photo album, actually, from back then. I was a huge Garfield fan. This is Christmas Eve 1987. And as you can see, I have my Commodore 64, which is an Aldi Commodore 64. That's why I made the video on the Aldi 64, which I will link in the corner here. And yeah, I got this 1541 disk drive, joystick, books, games. Some of the stuff still exists, and I found it in the box of retro computer stuff. And some other things are missing. My plan that I'm going to disclose now is to recreate this setup, or at least get as close as I can to this setup from 1987. My first Commodore 64 setup ever, my first computer setup ever, when I was 9 years old, and recreate this for Christmas 2017. So that's the plan. And I already have some of the stuff. I still hunting some things down, but yeah, the most important thing you saw in the video before, it's the Commodore 64. And I decided to keep this one, and yeah, this is basically the one in the worst state that I got. I got 3 to make the Aldi Commodore video to check up on stuff and confirm that what I'm telling you in the video is right. So I checked all the main boards and all the connectors and stuff, and the serial numbers. So I got 3 of them. One is already sold because I don't have a lot of money, and I bought these to sell them basically, but I'm going to keep one to recreate my Christmas setup. And this is going to be the one, and I thought I'd make a little restoration video. I already repaired this a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to link this in. The character ROM was broken, and I replaced the character ROM with a spare one from my donor board. So this is the case, especially the case is in a very sorry state, and it's very dirty, and it feels a little, yeah, it's a little oily and stuff and brown. So I'm going to give this a very good cleaning. And there's stuff written on it all over the place, actually. All the connectors have handwritten stuff on them. So I'm going to clean that. And I'm going to do a full recap and replace the bridge rectifier in this. The usual stuff I do. I never did this on one of the newer boards on this channel yet, so yeah. If you want to see me recapping Commodore 64s, you can basically watch my future-proofing video. I'm gonna do it very briefly in this video, I think, or fast forward it at least. So yeah, let's take this apart, and I think I want to go fix the electronics first. Yeah, maybe we can try to do both things at a time and soak this in some soapy water while I'm fixing the electronics and replacing the capacitors. That sounds like a good idea. Let's get started. So I already removed all the screws. This is the one I showed you the main board off already. I'm gonna remove the keyboard, I think, to clean the case. This can be... yeah, I should ground myself before I touch the main board. So, okay, this goes to the side here. And yeah, there's basically some writing on this. We're going to take care of that. And I'm going to take out all the screws here and keep them. Ta-da! Keyboard actually doesn't look that bad. To get the LED off, you basically have to, there's a ring. Let me show you. You can lift this ring and it basically, it's not easy to do, but it's just a clipped on ring there. I should have used something less destructive. So there we are, that's the ring, that's just stuck on there, and then you can basically take out the LED. There we go. You can just push this through to the other side there. There we go. And then you have the whole thing dissected. So actually, before I want to put this into water, let's try to get the markings off there. I'm trying to use an eraser because it looks like a pencil. Yeah, and it takes off some of it. Seriously, who writes stuff with a pencil on a Commodore 64? Obviously the previous owner of this one. Okay, and then there's these stickers here, which we can probably, hopefully, peel off. Yeah. And the rest will go away with some lighter fluid, I guess. Otherwise, the case isn't in that bad shape. There's nothing severely broken off or something like that. I think we can restore this quite nicely. Okay, this was some kind of pen. Ugh, and this is really dirty. You can see the brown stuff coming off there. I want to give this a good bath in a second. I like to use toothbrushes on these because they go. This is a textured plastic, so it has little indentations, and you can get in there pretty nicely with a toothbrush. If you, it's like brushing your teeth basically. Works just the same. I mean, the toothbrush is made for getting in the little cavities and stuff like that. So it's like it's made for the job. For this job too. And the lower case has some pen on it too. Let's get that off. And just for reference, this is one of the Commodore 64s I have shown you in the other video, of course. And this one I particularly like because mine had white feet and it had a sticker on the side like this one. So, if you want to know more about these Aldi models, watch the video about the Aldi. Okay, soapy water time. So, and while the case is soaking in some soapy water, I'm gonna do a full recap of this board, and I'm gonna replace the bridge rectifier, and yeah, basically then I'll put some heatsinks on the chips and we're good to go. The usual future-proofing stuff I linked in before, so I'm gonna fast forward that. So this is not the usual way I do this, but the tip on my desoldering station is too large, too small to fit the legs of the regulator here. So I'm trying to do it this way. Oh, okay, there we go. That was pretty tough. It's way easier on the older boards. Okay, I'm putting in a new regulator like I did with the Commodore 64 that put in a new case a while back. I'd say we should have a little functional test now at this point, because I replaced all the capacitors except the ones in the RF modulator, and yeah, basically replaced the bridge rectifier. So let's see if this still works. Okay, testing this. See if any caps explode. No, it still displays a nice picture. Sorry about the wrong aspect ratio there. I forgot to switch it on the monitor. But to prove the point that this is still working, it's probably fine. What we could do while we're at it is to heatsink the SID chip, the VIC2 chip, and yeah, maybe the processor, but this doesn't get any warm usually, so it's gonna be fine probably. These are the newer versions of the chips, don't get as hot as the old versions, so this probably would be fine without heat sinking even. But yeah, I have some heat sinks here, so I'm gonna use them, I think. Okay, that's the board so far. Let's have a look at the case in the meantime. And look at that. The case turned out pretty nicely after soaking it for whatever time it needed to recap the board. I'm gonna let this dry for a bit, but yeah, mostly it all was dirt. I don't need to retrobrite this or something like that. It's the color is pretty original. I kind of want to take the keyboard apart now. And for that purpose, I have a new tool. One of these keycap pullers, which is a pretty handy tool. By the way, the keycap puller was donated by Paul, so thank you, Paul. Very, very handy tool. I'm gonna use this for the first time. I tried it a bit, but I'm gonna use this for the first time on this thing here. You basically hook it on the corners. Can you see it? You hook it into the key on the corners there, and then you have an even pull on the key. And I used to use a screwdriver and carefully wiggle it out there, but basically this is the grip you get, and you won't damage the keys as easily because you can pull them out evenly. So that's what I'm gonna do to all these keys, and I hope it's a little less effort than with the screwdriver method. Ta-da! Whoa. Okay, so that's all the keys gone. I'm gonna put these, or I put some soapy water on top of them and let them soak for a while I scrub this with a toothbrush. But it's not as bad as I thought. For cleaning this part of the keyboard, I'm just using some window cleaner stuff. Okay, so that's pretty much clean, I guess. Okay, do you also want me to recap the modulator? Yay! Okay, everybody seems to want me to do this, so I'm going to desolder this and replace the caps in it as usual. Haha, off we go. Okay, so there we go. That's the thing. What capacitors? 220 microfarad, and the small one is 10 microfarad, I believe. And it's pretty packed with surface mount stuff. Not much, but a bit more modern design than the ones in the old bread bins. And it's also smaller. It's a smaller package. Ta-da! Okay, let's put it back on the board. Okay, there we go. Let's have a test run again. Okay, another quick test. And it still works, luckily. So, guess we did stuff right. So I let the case dry for some time, and I think we can put the board in the lower case here. I have to let the keys dry for a bit, so maybe overnight even. So there's not much I can do at this point. So yeah, I'll probably finish this tomorrow morning before I go to work. Alright, good night. Well, that actually took me 2 days now. It's the evening of the second day, but turned out pretty nicely. These are completely dry now, of course. Yeah, let's reassemble this and give it a test run. And for reference, I'm using another bread bin, I guess, because otherwise I don't really know where all the keys go, or it would be pretty difficult to guess the positions. By the way, there's one spring that's a bit higher than the others, and I think that's the one for the space bar. The other ones should be the same. Let's try not to damage the cable too much. Yeah, it feels alright. Okay, I was telling you about the slightly longer spring here that goes on the spacebar, and guess what? I got it wrong. I have to remove the spacebar again for a bit at least, and insert the other screw there. Which won't be much of a problem, I guess. I mean the other spring, of course. So the springiness will be just right. Ah, that's better. Let's put it back into the case. Ta-da! Looks nearly new, I must say. It's turned out pretty nicely, given the sorry state it was in with all the writings on it. Nice. Very, very satisfied with how this came out. So let's put the other part of the case and the main board on this and give it a little test run, I guess. Oh, there's quite some keys that are not working. Worst of all, the return key doesn't work. I have another go at this. So, alright, I'm taking this apart again. But this is pretty painful to take apart. There are a lot of small screws. So you have to, all you have to do is to get rid of all these screws. I don't even have to take it out of the case again, I think. And I can lift off this thing, which is the circuit board where the contacts for the keys are. So, yeah, let's get it on, I say. And I want to make some little slots here for screws that are under the tape here. Desoldering the two little these are bent over the pins there. You can basically just pull them up. Usually. Yeah, so there we go. Okay, so now we should be able to lift this out and have a look at the contacts and the dirt on them. Going over the contacts here. And then what I do is to apply some contact cleaner, the usual stuff I use, which is T6 Kontakt- und Tuner Spray aus Lean. It's I think it's only available in Germany or in Europe, but you can use deoxit if you are in the United States, which works pretty similar to this. So I just briefly go over all the contacts here, and I don't scrub much. I think that would be hurting the contacts more than do any good. Alright, going over here with some contact cleaner and a Q-tip. Clean all the little contacts. Okay, and now the whole thing in reverse, I guess, but I'm not going to put in all the screws. Just going to put in a few so that it holds in place and we can test it. Where? Okay, testing once again. Still works. Yes, and now it seems like all the keys are in fact working nicely. Phew! Yeah, okay, so let's fully assemble this and give it a proper test run this time. So yeah, the finished product turned out pretty nicely, I must say, and I'm really looking forward to get more stuff and do more restoration stuff for my recreation of my Christmas 1987 Commodore 64 setup. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you stay tuned for the other parts of this endeavor. There's gonna be, I think it's gonna be 4 parts, 1 part every week, maybe a 5th part, I'm not sure yet. But yeah, I'm gradually keeping you updated on what stuff I can get. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope to see you again on this channel. If you want to support me, check out my Patreon page, which I will link in the corner, and subscribe. And give this a thumbs up if you liked it. Stay tuned for the other videos. Hope to see you all soon. I'm Beta. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.